Oh my goodness! Imagine trying to tell the game through all the memes we put.
Next
Alright.
to in the slide.
Boston, for our viewer, can she hear you now?
Let me text her.
Glad we went through all of that to just have to do it again.
M.E.C.H learns how to fly.
Yep, she can hear now.
Okay, gotcha.
So
All
take
right,
take
Take two. Three.
take two. No, it's only two today.
Two.
That's all we got today. We're not counting last time.
I could just hear it right now. Take no, we screwed up. Take 1,023.
Oh, this is going to be fun. Okay, so you all hear my introduction again. So I'm Crescent. I will be your GM. We're going to go through the party again. Just, because we couldn't be heard last time. So go ahead again. Sorry.
All right. I am Yami, playing as Yami Tayo. I am a war cleric, and I am an Asimar. Happy to be here.
I'm Joan. I play Sareys, a Mark of the Shadow Elf and Trickery Cleric, and looking forward to game time shenanigans.
I'm Aaron, and I'll be playing Levin, a Tarnatal Elf Ranger. And you know what? Let's just kick this up a notch in terms of enthusiasm. Let's do this!
I like the energy. Yes.
So second verse, same as the first. I will be one of the Mats. I'll be playing M.E.C.H, a Warforged Paladin.
All right, moving forward.
I got nothing else exciting.
The energy was spent on the first run.
To follow up the other mat, I suppose the other mat should go. So I will be playing the other mat, aka Boston, and I am playing Fenic, the Goblin Shadow Sorcerer.
All right, and that leaves, I believe, one last player.
Alright, so it's my turn, huh?
It is.
Alright. I go by Kevin, or Captain Nematode. Sometimes I can change that to Meager Krieger. But today I'll be playing Lance Gallahan, a human fighter.
Alrighty. It is nice to meet you all and all of your characters, so let's hop right in. We're taking place in a world... Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say real quick, it's more technical, but like I'm hearing everybody's repeat after they do it through somewhere. Like I'm hearing myself right now repeat exactly what I just said.
Well, is it because you might be able to hear the Twitch feed?
That actually could be
God.
Okay, we're good.
So welcome to the first episode of how not to have a dream.
Good. Didn't think
Okay.
that. Sorry.
Because I was going to say, I actually have headphones on, so you should not be hearing anything from my end.
Take 4.
So,
All right, introductions again.
hold on. We're just going to say, like, do we have any other tech questions before we progress? Are everybody's systems going? Can everybody hear clearly?
Yes, sir.
Good. Thumbs up.
Yeah.
Oh, our poor viewer.
Cheers.
All right. Where was it? It's been 4 years since the end of the last war. Ending due to the event of the morning, which caused the country of Sire to become a desolate wasteland due to the effects of this magic. It's known as the Day of Warning. No one knows exactly what caused this event, or if it can happen again. Since then, the nations and countries of Khovaire have been in a very tenuous state of peace. where skirmishes break out quite often as they attempt to form a new world in this kingdom that 100 years prior was one. You all enter the scene, and you see an orange glow that covers the top of Lindir Tower as the sun sinks in the sky. Above, the great airships of Lyrindar float like leviathans, surrounded by brilliant rings of elemental energy. Below, bridges crisscross throughout all levels of the city, connecting Sharn's great towers. The sounds of crying children, baking vendors, cursing skycoach drivers, and braying hippogriffs rise up to create a unique din that can only be heard in the city towers. Most of you, as previously described, carry a letter from an old acquaintance named Sergeant Germain Vilroy of the Sharn Watch. This letter reads, "I'm calling on you for a job. I can't write the details. It pays well and requires your skills. Meet me at the airship dock. Redact that, sorry. Meet me at the Drunken Dragon Tavern on Upper Dura. It's at this point you are standing outside the tavern that the party members begin to arrive. Who would arrive first?
Sareys would probably arrive first, but would wait to see if anyone else shows up.
And now, as you're waiting, in what way are you hiding your presence? Are you just in what way are you waiting?
She's probably like trying just to keep a low profile and look like a beggar. She's underneath her cloak and her hood. She's probably tied her hair back so it doesn't fall out. And she's probably smudged like dirt and mud on her skin to make her kind of hide her pale skin a little bit, make her less distinctive. And she's just sitting there doing a bad job of being a beggar in that no one, like, she's begging in such a way that no one's actually going to give her coin, but no one wants to, like, bother with her either. She's just there, kind of another beggar on the side of the street that people are ignoring.
Alrighty. And what brings you to meet Sergeant Vilroy? Meaning, how do you know Sergeant Vilroy?
I only know them by reputation. A contact of mine, a fence, Hallis Thornwalker, said that there was a possibility of a really good payout and handed me a letter they'd lifted off somebody else and said I should give it a go.
Excellent.
And just gonna take a chance.
All right. So we have Sareys, who would arrive first. Who would be arriving next?
Lance will be showing up fairly earlier to keep things professional.
Alrighty. And you would just be kind of standing outside of the tavern, waiting. What's your connection to Sergeant Vilroy?
He would be inside, sort of by the doorway, keeping watch out. And what would bring him to the sergeant is that she would have been one of his former partners when he was still serving among the Sharn Watch.
Excellent. So you said you would be standing partially inside of the tavern?
He would be inside, sort of like getting a good view of everything, sort of maybe by a corner, keeping a watch out.
Alrighty. And then who would be following?
And making sure his back isn't exposed.
Gotcha. So generally speaking, back to the wall as you're looking around, making sure that your flank is covered.
Yeah, and that if anyone tries to get behind me, it'd definitely be easy to notice.
Yeah. All of that on-the-job training. So, who would be arriving next?
Levin would be arriving to this area wearing a set of blue gowns and cloth veil, like tied up around his head like a turban. Right now, I'm just looking around and seeing if anybody else is holding any letters or missives that look like they're associated with the job for what I'm here for.
All right, and are you, sorry, I might have missed it. Did you say you were inside or outside?
I would be checking outside first, but I wouldn't spend too much time. I'd be waiting inside after. Maybe
Okay.
about a couple minutes of arrival.
Alrighty. And the others, you would be coming together last.
Yep.
Definitely as a party, completely oblivious. For what's M.E.C.H knowledge, this is the first time he's even been out.
And I just came because normally M.E.C.H never leaves his post, so I'm definitely curious. And he is a good friend, so. And then I also
Fenic?
got to keep an eye on Fenic. Sorry about that.
Nope, go ahead. So Fenic, you'd be traveling along with them, I would assume.
Yeah, and he'd more than likely be making fun of M.E.C.H for not really getting out much. They're kind of like, come on, you got to get out of the books every now and then.
Well, this is why I'm here.
But you got to see the town. You can't learn everything from reading. You got to experience it, my friend.
Then, are you okay? There's a town right there. We're in a town right now.
But you got to get out of the town.
Uh-huh.
Have you ever been drunk?
And he kind of just looks at you because he has like the Iron Man face. There is like no mouth.
I'm gonna.
So,
I was gonna say I'm just gonna sigh and push past it. Seem like we definitely need a drink, and I'm gonna just like walk in.
alrighty. As the party of three kind of arrive, you are going to hear the clanking of heavy-set armor as Sergeant Germaine Villeroy, a female Breelish human, makes her way proudly down the street. She recognizes M.E.C.H nearly immediately. Oh, hey, buddy! It's been such a long time. How are you doing?
Wonderful. Really good. And I'm getting out more.
I'm not sure what that means here, but okay. And these people are...
This is Yami and his child, Fenic.
He's not a child. He's more he's like more like a ward. I just keep an eye on him from time to time, but he can pretty much take care of himself.
You're going to notice that Villeroy has a perplexed expression due to the difference in races of the pair. Huh. Must be a wartime orphan. Bless your heart. Alright, I'm expecting 3 others. So, let's go. And she is going to lead the way into the tavern, and there's already a table reserved for her, and she just motions for 7 drinks.
Noticing Sergeant Villeroy enter the tavern, I would have gotten up from my current seating area and moved over towards them.
Levin.
Sergeant.
Good to see you again.
Likewise.
Hope all has been well.
As well as can be.
Lance, noticing that Vilroy does come in, do you respond or do you stay where you're sitting?
I'm sorry. I heard like a loud, sharp thing. What did you say again?
I asked, would you respond to seeing Sergeant Vilroy enter, or would you remain where you are?
He would remain where he is and just keep an eye out for a little bit to see if like anyone may have been following her that comes in or not, and take note of that.
As soon as she does enter, because she was looking for these familiar faces, she would have seen you where you were sitting, unless you were making some sort of overt way of disguising yourself. Lance, come over here.
Alright. He'll sort of like mule his way over. Alright. How many are coming over?
There's supposed to be one more. He was a friend of a friend type of thing.
I see.
So, Sareys, at this point, you would have been able to recognize Sergeant Vilroy. Would you make your way in, or what would your character like to do?
She, when she saw Vilroy talking to the group, she would have kind of noted that with interest and tried to suss out who some of these people are, because she doesn't necessarily notice the individuals coming in, but this group talking to Vilroy is like, okay, so that's some of them. And she will try to clean up just a little bit, so she doesn't look quite like a beggar. Like, once they're inside, and she'll fish out this letter that she got, and she'll look it over. It's like, I can do this. I can do this. This is the thing I can do. I'm good at this. And she'll fold up the letter, put it back in like a little pocket inside one of the pockets she has, and just kind of like tidy up this very beat to hell cloak. It wasn't very hard for her to look like a beggar to start with. So she tries to like rub a little bit of the dirt from her face and kind of thinks better of it because she doesn't want to look too distinctive. She's worried about how she looks. And she keeps the hood up, and she'll walk in, and she will slowly walk up to the table where Vilroy's sitting and just like pull out the notes like, oh, Sergeant Vilroy, I believe this, I have an invitation to join your group.
And he is going to take a look at the invitation to verify that it was hers. Oh, yeah, I was told to expect someone. I haven't met you yet. I hope you're up to it.
I know you quite very well am. Looking forward to working with all of you.
So,
DM, real quick.
Yep.
I'm going to be doing a once around of the room to see if there's anyone who's interested in our current conversation.
All right.
Lance will join him with that.
Go ahead and roll me a perception check.
Would insight work?
Insight is reading body language for people that you already see. If you're trying to notice people in general, it would be perception.
I'm also trying
DM,
to, like,
to your
look
call.
out for like any intent. Because like I imagine it's pretty easy to spot out people in a tavern. It's just can be harder to read their intentions.
Yes,
right,
but it's also understanding which, do you have a specific target in mind? Otherwise, it's going to be hard to insight a group's intentions, particularly if it's a large city.
For me, I'm just looking for people that are looking in our direction.
Same score either way.
Alright, so, with that, it doesn't look like anybody it almost looks like people are being aversive to looking at your table. But no, nobody looks as if they are deliberately listening into the conversation, more like they're purposely trying to tune it out.
Would Levin be aware of any reputation that Sergeant Vilroy has in this area?
Give Give me a history check, or a lore check, basically, because this is more on the lines of.
Would my background as an investigator give me any sort of advantage on this?
Yes.
All right. So history check.
Yes, sir.
12.
You've heard rumors, and it's only rumors, nothing that is definite.
Rumors have a habit of getting out of hand, so.
She has a tendency of befriending people in the right circles.
10-4.
So, those of you who know me know that I don't like much of mincing words. So, here's the thing. I can give you 25 gold pieces up front now and 50 upon completion of the mission. With that, before I can tell you the details, are you in?
We have to take a mission without knowing the details.
Well, it is official Sharn business, so I can't just tell everybody.
But you want us to
Well,
no information.
I mean,
If you trust her,
Well, we
then
did
take the job. If
travel.
you don't, then don't.
we did travel all this way. Might as well.
Cyrus
Well,
really
you have
hesitated.
my
She just
ideas.
agreed to it.
What it is it's more in the lines of, I need you to do a meet for me. I can't tell you the name yet.
I wasn't saying no. I was just clarifying.
Well, I was able to provide an extra detail. It's a meeting.
Well, you have my ears. Fenic, M.E.C.H. Pretty sure
don't
you
have-
guys didn't travel all this way, and she is an old friend of yours, isn't she, M.E.C.H? Might as well hear her out.
I don't have ears, but sure.
I'm gonna look at him like, fair enough.
DM, I have a general knowledge question. You said we're in the month of Nim. Is it before or after the 12th?
After the 12th.
Okay. Well, I have nothing going on since the Bright Blade Festival. Sure.
However, I'm not sure about the others. And who are you? My name is Yami. It'd be nice to know who I'm working with.
So at this
As I look at
point,
the others.
as you are deciding if you would like to go in as a group, is the perfect time to introduce what your characters look like, what they're dressed in, because you would have a round of drinks that gets served to everybody. If you don't drink beer, too bad. It's there.
For water, rather be not held back by alcohol on a job.
And you're
Well,
going
we're
to
not
see
on the job
Vilroy-
yet.
You're going to see Vilroy downing her drink and ordering another.
If I can't drink with you, then I definitely can't work for you. So I'll take a round. And I'll
So,
plug
yeah.
mine's back too.
At this point, take a moment to describe what your character looks like. We do know that Sareys is dressed, but let's get a more defined character description besides, the pale skin. So, go ahead. Do you want to do it the same order that you introduced your characters, or is anybody
That
to
works.
go first?
Doesn't
That's
matter.
fine. That's fine.
All right. So I believe Sareys started us off last time.
So yeah, it's not distinctively noticeable at the moment because she's still wearing her hood, and she's got like some grime on her skin to kind of hide her complexion, but she's very, very pale. Like she looks like she's never seen the sun pale, and she has almost matching like pale white hair that currently is tied back and hidden under her hood. She's wearing a very worn and tattered cloak, and she's wearing some serviceable but well-worn leathers, and she's got several little pouches and pockets like hanging from her belt, and a small satchel strapped around her shoulder. And if anyone were to look carefully, they'd probably see the couple of dagger handles poking out from underneath the cloak as well.
Alrighty. Next, I believe, was New York, Matt? Or was it Yami?
Yami.
Yami, go ahead.
Alrighty, so you see Asimir, long hair, kind of like dreaded a little bit. Goatee facial hair, just like a more human looking than I guess Asimirs are humanish in a sense. So yeah, he's looking like that. He has a hooded chainmail garb, like he has like chainmail. He has like a hood over, like like a cloak in the back, just something you would wear on travel, just to cover yourself up like a ranger would, or something like that along those lines. Yeah, he stands about. Where is it? Let me pull up this real quick just to give accurate description. Yeah, so he stands about 5'5", almost like 130 something pounds. He's a older gentleman, a little grays in his hair, dark brown hair, dark brown eyes with a little glow in it due to the Azamar. But other than that, yeah, he's a fair skinned, well, tan skin, I should say. And yeah.
Alrighty.
Oh yeah, I also carry a great sword on my back.
Noted.
And yeah, that'll be all.
And
All
I
right.
believe next was... Go ahead.
Yep. So, Mech has all silver, kind of think of like heavy plate armor, like cavalry armor, but it's kind of integrated. So it's like a chest piece, gauntlets, the braces for the legs and thighs. The general body is kind of a, not goldish, but a little bit less like a copperish type color. You see he has a tall shield and a handle kind of sticking out of the right shoulder, like a samurai sword almost. But you can't see the rest of it. And there is a cape, but just like the one shoulder covering the right arm. And you see that there is an open book on it with a red bookmark through it. Like I said before, the face is expressionless. It's just two eyes. Two eyes that glow blue. But he's very pristine and clean. There's not a scratch on him. Very polished, very well kept.
Okay. So he's a prim and proper droid.
More along the line is that it hasn't been used.
Okay.
Factory new.
Yeah, like you peel the plastic like off of the new TV.
Yeah, he's got that new forged smell. Levin is wearing royal blue, loose-fitting, long, heavy robes and head wrapping. He has around his neck two items, one being a light gray, what looks to be like a handkerchief made out of the same material, and a thin chain made out of some type of gold that appears to be holding in part of an amulet that you can see. Strapped around my waist is a simple leather belt with a dagger in a buttoned scabbard. And deep olive skin, and you see shocks of black and grayish hairs.
Alrighty. Fenic.
Right.
Was there more you wanted to say, Levin? Sorry if I interrupted.
Well, outside of purely descriptive for physical traits, I mean, green eyes, 5'10", about $128. Not much else.
Gotcha. Good to know you. Alright, Fenic, go ahead.
Right. Fenic stands a staggering 3.5 feet tall. And he is wearing dark robes that kind of, the way they move and flow almost create, almost I feel like he's a walking shadow. And the cloak is made out of a dark, heavy fabric that almost seems to kind of like absorb the light around him. Just like that presence of something not of like the normal light environment. So the hood is his hood is more times than not pulled up, covering up his face, kind of in the darkness of the hood. But you can see his eyes, which are dark and piercing and the color of obsidian. They tend to gleam with a sinister intelligence, hinting at a great power that might lie there. His skin is a sickly olive green. His hands long and thin, ending with sharp-like claw fingers. In his hand, he carries a staff made of twisted blackwood, which about that. And and on his face, he has a scar that is a single streak of purple going across it that is noticeable if the hood is pulled back just enough. But despite that kind of fearsome and dark appearance, you can tell and sense that he is not evil. That like when people perceive evil, not that. And he looks a little bit older than he is, but he is fairly.
Alrighty. Interesting to meet you.
Interesting to meet you.
And that leaves us, I believe, with Lance.
Lance is a 6'4" individual with obviously aged, as he's starting to form whites on the side of his head, as well as forming a hunch and starting to form more wrinkly skin. He is sort of sitting on the side of the table, keeping an eye out, as he sort of like has his pole arm laying on the side of the table. It's sort of just like looks at the others, sort of says, "So, you all ready for some more?"
Are you talking about more beer? Another round, please. And she's just going to order another round for everybody.
Talking about the job.
Oh, well, that too. So, if you're all in agreement, I have a contact I need you to meet up for me. His name is Cole. She claims that she has some sort of knowledge of crime that's being committed in Old Sharn. So, I need you to make the first initial approach. If I go in there, it might cause undue suspicion and attention to Cole.
Alright.
Have any of you heard of the
Anything
Cog
else?
Carnival?
Would it be general knowledge or is it like specific knowledge?
If you are a local or have spent any degree of time in Sharn, it would be more common knowledge. If you are not from the area, you would have no idea what they're talking about.
Yep, I would have no idea. I'm an outsider. I travel around on the outskirts. I mean, I might have heard of rumors and stuff if that happened, but yeah, generally, I wouldn't know.
With
Lance?
my particular background, would I have access to that knowledge?
Yeah, so those of you who have been here, you would have known that that's the one area that Warforges are able to kind of congregate. So the Cog Carnival is actually a bar that's frequented by Warforges almost exclusively.
So when she says that, Sareys will immediately look at Mac just like, well, that's our in. that's the expression on her face.
Would Fenic have any knowledge that he spends time in the library a lot? Would have read.
Would you be looking up obscure taverns in a city that you possibly would never go to visit?
I'm actually going to say no to that.
So I'd say no, and you haven't spent enough time in the city.
Okay.
Specifically because your character actually comes from a different country. So you're kind of new to these lands, period.
Okay.
Besides the library that you spent several years at with your surrogate father and M.E.C.H.
All right. Levin's gonna prompt and say, "That's that dive bar over in the Cogsgate area, isn't it?"
Yes.
I know a little.
And you're going to notice that she does reach into a satchel at her hip, and she pulls out a scroll. And she does hand it to Lance. Upon opening it and looking at what the scroll says, you notice that it's a writ that authorizes the bearers to conduct official duties of the watch under Sergeant Villeroy's authority. Those of you who have been in the city, particularly Lance, would know that most city workers and others will respect that writ, sometimes, however grudgingly it may be. As long as you're not being committing flagrantly illegal acts.
Sareys.
Establishment again?
What happened?
What was the name of the establishment?
This was the Drunken Dragon.
No, he meant like the place where we're meeting the contact.
Oh, the Cog Carnival.
The Cog Carnival.
Also, the
Sareys.
Drunken.
Alright. You got a description for this fellow that we're to keep an eye out for?
Well,
A description would be very helpful.
Like,
you're going to
since
notice
this
that
isn't a warforged.
it is a warforge. It's going to look very much like M.E.C.H over there. Possibly with some major wound or some major injury, because she did fight in the war.
So feminine body type.
Not necessarily. It could just be female personality. Warforged.
So?
We are all built bulky.
I mean, after all, we have to make sure that nothing really happens to Cole. She is just an informant, after all.
So our
you
job is to
bulky
protect
build
this.
then with her?
What happened?
I'm assuming with a name like Cole, she looks like a miner of some sort.
Yeah. A whole bunch of those those war mechs got repurposed as miners, so they've been doing excavation sites mostly.
That sounds dreadful.
Well, it's a trait of Warforged to name themselves after their purpose, so makes sense.
That kind of thinks for a minute, and he's like, He kind of wanders off with that one.
And we're to look after Cole, you said?
No, you're just to find out what information Cole has and report back.
So, interview, not interrogate.
Yes.
And that'll be the end of the job, alright?
That is the end of the job.
Awful lot of people for something so simple.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Do I know the kind of neighborhood that this Cog Carnival is in? Is it like a little bit rough and tumble?
Yes, it is not in a nice neighborhood.
It is a dive bar.
Yeah, it's like, well, if we're all going, it's probably safer numbers to go to an establishment like that. Ain't the safest place to be.
Really? It sounds wonderful.
It's clientele.
Carnival of Cogs.
The clientele's pretty specific.
A lot of people
Do you
would
think
find
it's
it to be
safe?
wonderful.
I'm gonna look over at M.E.C.H and be like, do you think it's safe enough for Fenric? I mean, I think he can handle himself. Well, I'm gonna say this like where Fenric can't hear. I don't know what Fenric's doing, but I'm gonna like lean over to M.E.C.H and say that.
It's fine. That's what we're for.
All right.
Fenic is literally standing
I
under
mean,
you.
look at him.
Well, we both just look at Fenric.
He's probably doing something dumb.
I can't like pick his.
Just listening to this with his hands out, like, what are you talking about?
Levin is going to be looking up Sergeant Villeroy up and down because someone over in the lower landing trying to get info to somebody in the upper areas. Those are vastly different social circles, so I'm not sure she's giving all the info that she could.
Alrighty, so give me an insight check.
Mm-hmm, 12. Mediocre.
Alright, with that, she doesn't seem like she's giving too much. It doesn't look like she's being completely dishonest.
I'm sorry, Sergeant. You, not to be rude, you were very fond of me earlier. Have we met?
Of course we've met. We fought in the war.
I don't believe I fought in the war.
She's just gonna kind of scratch her head. Ugh. I know I fought with the mech.
I've been in the library for 10 years.
Well, that would explain what happened to you. You kind of up and vanished.
You know what he used to be suffers when he came across all your work.
You know, I remember a time when you didn't know how to read.
Wait, you say I don't know?
I remember a time when you didn't know how to read.
Oh, yeah. Alright, I take it back.
Well, apologies, Sergeant. It's a pleasure to meet you. Again.
It's nice to meet you again. Anyway, so you can start making your way over to the Cog Carnival. The sooner you meet with Cole, the better.
And about payment.
Oh, and she's going to hand you 25 gold pieces in a pouch each. The rest on return.
Each?
Yes.
That's my 25 front for a question.
What are we the informants? Any group in particular?
What happened?
Group of the informants. Who's she informant on?
You weren't given that information.
Is it okay to ask?
You could certainly try.
Okay, that's what I was doing. Alright. With the informants. What group is she part of? Or
Give me a persuasion. Give me a persuasion check.
Alright.
Well, Unfortunately, you're not in the Sharn Guard anymore. This is the job.
So 25 gold pieces up front, and then another payment after. Just that's a question. You gonna give answer?
No, it's 25 to go meet up this individual, interview them to find out what they know, and then return with that information, and that's it.
So a lot of questions, but I guess we have our own questions to ask somebody anyway. So
To be fair, we could ask this person in the nature of the interview, wouldn't we?
that's exactly what I was speaking of now. But we already got paid. Might as well get started, shouldn't we?
I have an extra ale if anyone wants. I can't drink it, but I just like holding them on. I'm just like passing it around.
I'm gonna pass him my empty mug. I'm gonna take the full mug. Boy, officially start, and I just throw that second one back. And I place it on the table.
There we go. And with that, we are about 10 minutes into the top of the hour. We had said that we were going to do a 5-minute break at the start of the hours. I didn't want to interrupt the roleplay, so we're going to kind of just hop off, refresh ourselves, take a quick little break, and we'll be back in about 5 minutes.
All right.
And we are back. Welcome back. So they have now rationalized taking a job. Let's go back. So we're still in this Drunken Dragon Tavern. You have had 2 rounds of drinks that have been paid for you, and I believe everybody besides M.E.C.H has drank, except M.E.C.H was given an empty empty mug, so that he could feel a part of the group.
Sareys didn't actually drink anything.
Oh, excuse me.
It was full, so I gave it to Levin.
So there are two drinks still remaining. Is anybody going to have them, or are they just a donation for Vilroy?
I'm actually okay with
Yeah, I wouldn't drink somebody else's drink only out of suspicion. Well, not just off, I would say.
You were not enough.
Let have one. Drink that.
First of all, 2 beverages is not enough to get me drunk. The travel time that we have from here down to Lower Tavek is more than enough time for me to sober up if I was drunk. And seriously, live a little.
I'm gonna look at Fenic and I'm gonna whisper to Fenic, you can drink it. Just don't let that be it.
I'm right here. I'm still
I'm gonna give
right here.
I'm gonna give Fenic a little fist bump, and I'm like side eye that. Yeah. Come on, let's go. I'm gonna give Fenic a little wink.
I'm watching him drink it.
I'm kind of like
He's doing it right now.
No, come on. Tell me all about those stories and the war and stuff. Apparently you were in the war, huh?
I suppose.
He was. Now, I would love to do story time, but once you do finish your drinks, you do have to go check to make sure this informant is okay.
Oh yeah.
He can tell us on all the way.
His safety may be in your hands. Her safety may be in your hands.
Having already finished his beverage, Levin has set it on the table and is motioning towards the exit.
I'll wait
Alright.
for the others. I'll follow behind.
We'll try to go last.
Let's check with you all. Any of you have any capabilities if worse comes to worse?
Have a pick me up.
If you're talking basic first aid, I can probably help. Although, very basic.
I can lay my hand on all of you.
I can hear you, but not by much.
Sareys.
Lend your hands.
They have.
What about you? I'm gonna look at Sareys. And what about you? You're a curious one.
Just
Not you,
you just talking to him. I'm listening. And I'm just aside. Sareys.
You can heal as well. That'll be good.
No,
No?
not so much. I mean, bandage wounds and whatnot, but would call myself a healer.
Good enough. Good enough.
What name do you go by?
So shall we continue? Yami.
Lance. You can call me Lance.
You can call me Fenic.
I'm back. So shall we?
So, with that, your introductions would have been happening as you're walking, and the walk to get to the High Walls district would take a while. If you were going by foot, if you are going by the mage breed coach, that would cost you 3 silver pieces per mile to travel. How would you like to travel?
Sareys, hold on to the coin. She's gonna I mean, it's also that long of a walk, really. And, you know, it's a better way to get to the city than taking the coach.
I agree with Sarah. I don't mind walking, and it would be nice to get into fights along the way. I'm not really a city person.
Well, if everyone gets tired, I have extra coin. I do not mind splurging. But the
Good
choice
to know
is
the next round. Good to know the next round's on you then.
I'm assuming that's a general assumption that you are walking.
We're walking.
Yep.
Yes, so.
Sarah's just gonna try and hang back. She doesn't get opportunities to come to this nice neighborhood very often. She's going to try to lift the purses of some of the people around, like the citizens around her.
Alrighty. So first off, give me a deception check.
Perception?
Deception. Sorry.
Deception. Okay. That's not gonna be great.
Who is he deceiving?
No. Yeah. Sorry, I don't even know why I said deception. It should have been a stealth check. My apologies. I don't even know why I said that. Give me a stealth check, please.
It's just a slip.
Okay, that's fine. In that case, she's muttering a small prayer to Lendra to help basically keep her from being seen. Going to, and because she's a mark of Shadow Elf, that little prayer is guys, by the way.
Okay.
Yes. That. Oh shit.
So you are very stealthy as you're able to kind of slip away far enough from the party without escaping real notice. That is higher than everybody's passive perceptions at this point. So
By far.
now with your stealth, please give me a sleight of hand check at advantage.
Right.
Alrighty. With that, you are able to successfully lift. About how many marks are you targeting?
She doesn't want to be too greedy, but she wants them. Like I said, it's an opportunity she can't pass up. So three is the good number.
Okay. So it would slightly separate you from the party, and they would recognize that you are gone after the first couple of minutes. So we are looking at about 5 minutes-ish worth of time. This way you're not being too conspicuous, you are taking the time to do this and not making it obvious.
Yeah.
So on the first... So at this point, you would be gone for... It would take you about 5 minutes to commit the act of thievery, and then you would have a few more minutes to regroup with the party. At this point, the party would notice that you were gone, as I had said. So it's going to be... From the first mark, you would get 7 gold pieces in a pouch. The second, you would get 9 gold pieces. And the third, you would get 15 gold pieces.
16 and 15, so 31. Been a very good trip. Which does enjoy. She seems just a little bit giddy and excited.
I would sort of like look at her and say, "No vision."
Well, before you regroup, though, now I'd like you to give me a deception check.
Just straight, no advantage or disadvantage.
No, just a straight deception check, because again, just because nobody outright saw you doesn't mean that nobody saw you. You know what I mean? You are in a large city. You just didn't get caught.
Yeah, I definitely would have looked Sarah up and down when she disappeared and came back.
Oh, fuck.
Noted. So, you are able to regroup with the party knowing the general direction. You would know roughly where this dive bar was. So you would be able to regroup with the party relatively easily. The party would kind of just see you appear, going based off of your original stealth check. So, as mentioned, there's 2 party members that have already begun to eye you. Gentlemen, what would you like to do?
Who would just say, so you went out fishing, huh?
I just our sole friend had to catch up to this pot now.
Yeah, I'm sure. Just make sure that you don't bring your friend back.
Friends are fine.
Yeah, sure. I mean, any other kind of friend.
She looks confused at that.
Lance would just sort of roll his eyes and look away.
What's that? I'd be like, and I'm gonna lean over to Meg. I'm like, keep your eyes on that one. She's a little skeptical. As I whisper to Meg.
You went to go see a friend. What's wrong with that?
I'm gonna pat Meg on the back. Yeah, friend. Anyways, this is a little crowded for me as we're walking.
Levin's gonna sidle up close to Sareys. When you get the time, if you're going to do any work like I think you're doing over in the upper areas, grab a feather token in case he decides to toss you.
Just look at her. Do not know what mind. I mean, feather just put all around. So, good advice. Keep to it yourself.
That's fair.
And with that, how long would it be to actually get to this place?
You're talking about 2 hours worth of traveling time getting through the areas and everything like that. It is a very large area.
And it would be... Okay, and it's night time, I'm assuming, right? What I could see on the map says 7 p.m., so I'm assuming that's the time.
Yeah, by the time you got there, it would be about 9 o'clock.
Okay, got it. Sure, alright, yeah.
Too much.
Pretty late, right? Oh, yeah.
Too much evil.
Too much evil.
We did a couple laps. Around.
As you make it into the High Walls district, which is located in the Lower Tavik's Landing, it's a district that's mostly enclosed by walls. You noticed most predominantly the stench of body odor, garbage, and tobacco mixing together in the streets. High Walls cuts this district. The High Walls cut this district's crumbling, vandalized buildings off from the rest of Sharn. Though towers rise over the walls like imposing sentries, many people stand idly on street corners, eyeing you suspicious and keeping to themselves. You move through Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just saying, so you said it smells like garbage and what?
It smells like body odor, garbage, and tobacco mixed together.
Okay, got it. Alright.
And what Sarah gets into this neighborhood, she both relaxes visibly and becomes more watchful. Like she's finally in her element, but that's all the more reason to be cautious.
Moving quickly through this area, or as quickly as you can travel without rushing through, you finally start making your way towards the Cog Carnival, which is a dilapidated Warforged bar. Outside, you notice the crumbling stone and marred graffiti. Coating it are messages like "Forged are scrap" and "Leave metalheads."
Well, that's not very nice.
It's not meant to be.
As you approach the bar, smoky low flames in a fireplace barely illuminate the cracked stone walls and filthy floor of the establishment. That's what you notice. So you guys are down here in the corner. So you can approach the tavern as you see, and as you do approach this dilapidated tavern,
I don't see anything, by the way.
I was just, yeah, I was
Oh, okay. Whoops. Yep. Understand why.
I see what you were thinking, but yeah, I can't see the actual layout. Yeah. There we go. Boom, boom. I like that.
Now you should be able to.
Nice.
It's not on the scene.
Gotcha. There we go.
I see now.
Are you lingering outside much, or are you going right into the tavern?
I'm checking to see, is there a bouncer or anything like that by the front door?
You would see a bouncer standing outside.
Alright, I'm gonna walk up to him, or her, or it. Evening.
Well, hi there. Welcome.
Do we just
coming in?
I would like to, yes.
Alright. You, and you. And he's pointing to anybody who is not made of metal. 5 copper pieces.
Fantastic. No wonder I don't frequent here.
You can come on in. On the house. I'm sorry.
Fantastic.
I'm just gonna palm him 3 silver.
Pleasure doing business with you. And here you're gonna see that he puts it right into a tin and motions for you to enter the bar.
Alright, I'm gonna turn to the rest, hook my thumb, leading into the tavern, and I'm gonna walk in.
Alright, and you paid your all, right?
Yep. So yeah, it was 5 copper pieces, so that'd be 2 silver for each. He gave 3 silver.
Alright,
You're quite generous.
I prefer to get into the good graces of anyone who can kick my ass.
I definitely appreciate it.
What's the name though? I'm gonna give it once around, and then that's just general feel for the area.
Alright. Once you enter, you notice that the smoky low flames in the fireplace barely illuminate the cracked stone walls and filthy floor of this establishment. The single-room space is crowded with warforged, with severed digits or limbs, scars, burns, and other wounds. Other warforged in this area are gathered around traditional dice, card, dart, and board games, as well as carnival competitions such as throwing metal rings onto outposts, tossing a ball at a tower of weighted iron cups hard enough to make them fall down, and striking a homemade machine hard enough with a hammer to make it ring a bell. A small bar in the corner serves cheap ale. Behind this bar, a warforged bartender shouts and jeers at patrons losing games.
Seems like a battle-hardy place. Kind of like this. Some strong warriors here. Definitely a lot of stories to tell.
Swords normally have war swords as well.
Kind of like this place, isn't it? As bad as everybody said it was.
I'm gonna go up to the bar and see if I can catch the attention of the bartender.
Alrighty. Particularly because... Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, does anybody play with anyone of notes in here? Like, anyone that stands out besides Cole, of course?
You don't know what Cole looks like.
You don't know what Cole looks like, and
Okay.
for the most part,
Warforged.
Warforged do look similar. So distinguishing the males and the females would be difficult for you.
C3, you know, with different voices.
Pretty much.
Alright, I'm gonna look at Meg. Does anybody stand out to you? Pretty sure you
Are you saying that they all look the same?
No,
That's very British.
I mean, you are most of you were factory made war, so not really your fault. It is what it is.
Also, the Treaty of Thronehold recognizes all of those people, so it's officially, I think, racist now, not nationalist.
But we all kind of the same. I don't know what she looks like, and it wouldn't matter unless she had body parts missing or distinguishable scars or etching.
Can you have a chat with
I don't mean to be. I don't mean to sound. My racist wasn't my thing. I was just saying. I know you apparently had some friends from the war, so maybe you might have attached that to something.
I mean, sure, it hasn't happened. When it will, I'll let you know.
Alright, fair enough.
Pardon me, I'm gonna try to catch the attention of the bartender.
Indeed. You are pretty easily able to catch the bartender's attention, particularly because you're a humanoid within... Sorry, I'm hearing somebody's audio coming in. Sorry about that, I got sidetracked. Because you're the only humanoid in the tavern, well, one of the few humanoids that are in the tavern that are not made out of metal, it is fairly easy to get the bartender's attention. Oi, what can I do for you?
How much for a beverage?
We don't have the best, and what brings you here? You got skin, you could go to a better place than this.
You are absolutely correct in your opinion. And I'm gonna look over towards Lance. Lance, you're the one with the writ, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna wave you over.
Alright. Lance will come over. Hello, barkeep.
Okay. We're here under authority from the Sharn Watch, specifically to talk with somebody who may need some help. If you could maybe direct us towards a person by the name of Cole. And I didn't get a response on how much a beverage would cost.
First, give me an insight check.
Alright, either of us?
Since you're both there, either of you works.
Okay. Alright.
Okay, so... You both would notice that seeing the writ brings a small bit of nervousness to his face, especially as he's looking at who's...
Lance will sort of, Lance ignores and says that, like, say that, keep it cool.
Well, the nervousness
Maybe
does...
assuage them. I'm gonna put a gold piece on the counter.
Okay, well... who are you looking for?
Lance, this is more than your purview.
The only fortunate name of Cole should be a feminine type.
Yeah, I know Cole. And she's going to point, the bartender is going to point to the Warforged at the end of the bar sitting alone. You notice that she is missing an arm.
Alright. I thank you for your service, barkeep.
Anytime, and you're going to notice him subtly pocket the gold piece.
Alright. Then Lance will sort of like look over towards the others and sort of like nod towards the Warforged with the missing arm. And head on over to take a seat by her.
Alrighty. she's going to, as you sit down, how do you approach in just sitting next to her?
Well, what you'll first do is that you'll take a drink, order it, have the writ under the table, and sort of like slide both the paper and the drink fire. You would have ordered something that a warforged would typically have.
She's going to kind of side-eye you and then glance down at the writ. And it isn't until she notices the name of Sergeant Vilroy, emblazoned on it, that she kind of visibly calms down. So, Vilroy sent you, huh?
That's the name.
As soon as she calms down, I'm gonna take a seat at the table.
Alright, so after joining her, she's going to kind of look at you. He sent so many. Why didn't he meet me Why didn't she meet me herself?
A lot of reasons. She didn't really care to divulge. You know why we're here, so let's just get down to business.
You're gonna notice that upon that expression, she starts kind of tensing up a bit.
Keep cool. We'll draw attention otherwise. Take a drink.
Why isn't Vilroy here?
Vilroy expressed to us that it would be undue attention on your part if she was to show up here. So she sent us in lieu of herself.
That makes a lot more sense. Okay. So, here's what I found out. Have any of you heard of the House Orion?
House Orion, the passage.
Yes, yeah. Well, I had a friend, Razor, and Razor was helping the Dosk hunt for artifacts in old Sharn. And what I found out before Razor got killed was that there was a kidnapping of a child in that house. And it's definitely something that Vilroy would want to get taken care of.
Alright, Lance will sort of like just taking note of this.
And as she's kind of finishing up her explanation and you're responding, you notice a firebolt shoot past her head before she tenses up, looks at you with absolute fear in her eyes before running off. "You set me up!" she said as she screams as she runs out, running for her life.
Levin is gonna get up from his seat, roll over the table, and give chase.
Lance will join him.
As a bit of information, she does sprint 60 feet per turn.
Sarah's looking for where the firebolt came from.
Yeah, I think it was the same.
Give me a perception.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. Curious.
God damn it.
So far, I love your roll. Keep those nat ones up.
Got it on.
Yami, I don't see your roll in the chat. Are you using D&D Beyond?
Yes, but it should be connected to...
Did you click on the Beyond County icon on your browser?
Yeah, you're gonna have to just reparse that out.
Okay. So I clicked it, but okay.
I will trust your 9 because I like the roll.
No, it's on the campaign log, so it's 9.
Oh wait, real quick. Just start real quick. I have to be on 20, and it says it's connecting and everything.
In your Foundry tab, make sure that you clicked on the Beyond 20 icon.
Real quickly, do a test roll after you do it.
Alright, so I'll be on 20. Hold on. You said a Foundry,
Sorry
right?
for the technical difficulties.
That's fine.
Try this one more time. I'm gonna roll right with these 20. See if that works. I would work the other day. Hold on.
Well, each time you open up the Foundry tab, you have to click on the Beyond 20 icon in your browser bar.
Oh, I see. Alright. I got it. Hold on. I'll try again now. Wait, I clicked it. It popped up. Beyond 20. And I only put it to Foundry only. So,
No worries. That's what these
At
tests
worst
are
case
for.
worst case scenario, we can always try this again later. So I don't pick the game up, I'll try one more time. Rolling another
Just give
d20.
one test roll. If not, I'll have to switch over and check up on D&D Beyond as well.
Alright, so yeah, I guess.
Alright, so, with that, hey, there we go. That time it worked.
Yep.
You should be
It worked.
connected. Yep. Alright, so,
You rolled an 8.
Lance and Levin, because you took off after Cole, I'm going to say that you aren't able to participate in that perception check only because your attention is otherwise engaged.
Alright.
As for the
Good
group,
thing about that one.
I mean, keep it up. I enjoy the nat ones, but still, Fenic would be the only one who would notice a figure kind of bucketing out but getting lost in the crowd.
That person did not seem like they're supposed to be here, and I think that might be our fireball person.
The others are going to turn around and they're not going to see anybody.
He's right there.
No, he would have ran out. That's what I mean. He got lost in the crowd.
Oh, okay.
You see where, you don't know what direction? Nothing?
Fenic is pointing.
Unfortunately, with the roll, he's lucky he gets that much.
Okay. So it was like, if I'm looking at the map, he would have been going out south. They would have gone south.
Yep. He would have gone south, and you would have seen him... Again, even then, you wouldn't know the exact direction that he took off, or that figure took off in.
Just on the door. That's all I got. I'm lost all people here. Can't speak.
I'm just going to put my character just outside.
Yep, because for this chase scene, there is no map, so we're going to have to theater of the mind it, which is okay.
Not a problem.
I feel like we're all creative people. So with that, Cole will be running 60 feet per round at this point. Because she had the advantage, she is 60 feet ahead of you. What would you like to do, Lance or Levin?
Levin's going to continue dashing.
Yeah.
Levin, both of you have how much?
30-foot move speed, dashing would put me at 60 per round.
Okay.
30-foot move speed as well. He was, Lance will sort of look at, what's your name again?
Are you
Which?
talking about which her?
No,
Cole.
Are you talking
no, not
Cole or?
Cole.
Okay.
Not Cole.
The other person giving chase?
Yeah.
Levin, that would be my character.
Okay, 11. So you'll sort of look at 11 and say, no, we're trying to get her to slow down. She's doing her around
And just and as I dodge a freaking crate in the way, that would make sense considering she was just fired on.
Yeah.
Come on, keep up.
with that, so she would be ahead of you by about 10 feet, so you guys are able to solidly maintaining 10 feet behind.
She's not throwing anything in our way to throw us off, is she?
You'll find out.
Well, we are 10 feet away.
Just gotta make my rolls here to see what happens.
She is now.
Because as you'll all know, you're in a city, so let's see.
Mm-hmm.
As you're running, you are going to have the equivalent of a cabbage cart wheel in front of your way. Give me a acrobatics check, please. Dexterity acrobatics.
All right.
Both of us or...
Both of you, yes. A large cart is getting in your way.
All right, that's probably going to stall me for a moment.
Would
it is
possible
treated...
to jump over? Would it be possible to jump over it instead of fly? With athletics?
I'm going to say to be able to jump over it will slow you down anyway, because of the fact that you have to literally hurdle over this cart. But he's already
running, so it's literally like it would be a high jump or a long jump combination of the two.
Alright, I'll allow it.
Alright, so athletics would work?
Athletics would work.
Alright, good to hear. 16.
Alrighty. You are able to get past the obstacle. For Levin, it is treated as the obstacle.
I had to stop short, yeah.
Yep, 10 feet of difficult terrain. So you are now 20 feet behind instead of 10. And Lance is able to maintain that 10-foot differential. The rest of you, what are you doing? Because you saw the other party members just book it out as you were looking around.
I was just about to ask. I'm gonna look at. Sorry, talk about. Like, go ahead, everybody.
Do I have an idea of where, like maybe not specifically where this person is going, but like a general idea, like in this neighborhood where someone might feel safer? Like
give me an insight check with disadvantage, only because as you see on the walls, there's a lot of slurs against Warforged. So feeling safe in this area may not be something that Warforged actually feel. So what you're able to go is this Warforged, Cole is running on like fight or flight, and from what you were able to see, there was no escape route. It was purely flight. She thinks you're trying to kill her.
Great. Hoping I can.
Sorry, go ahead.
Hoping I would be able to deduce like an idea of what direction she'd come in, and maybe I can try it.
You would have been able to see that they booked it in this direction. So, like when they came out, they ran to the right hand. So this way.
Got it. Fair enough.
I gotta step away for a moment.
Alrighty. So just as a real quick, should we take our 5-minute now then? Since we're approaching the top of the hour?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Alright, so we will be right back. So, we have just started the chase. You have Lance and Levin, who are 10 feet and 20 feet away from Cole as it is. You have the other party members that are still in the Cog Carnival. So with that, it would be, was there anything that you guys wanted to do specifically? Because I know Sareys just did an insight check. I believe it was an insight check to...
It was.
There we go. To kind of figure out where Cole might be going, and it went unsuccessfully, unfortunately. That does leave Yami, Fenic, and M.E.C.H with their respective turns. All right, so keep in mind you would... Yeah, you would be 6 seconds behind, which means that you would be a full... what is your max movement, Fenic? 30 feet, so you would be about 60 feet behind.
So he would have been at the table sitting with Sarah, so he would have to use his movement to first get outside.
Well, this is where we're going to say that you're about 60 feet behind. Because they would have had to go through that same exact process that you're going through now.
Got it.
So, yeah, it's just easier to say that's your distance. So, respectively, it'd be 10, 20, 60. M.E.C.H and Yami, what would you like to do?
So I definitely would be chasing.
Okay. Is your movement as well 30 feet?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You two would be 60 feet behind, and M.E.C.H.
I has no choice now. Those two ran. I didn't even get to finish my oil. But yeah, they have 30 feet.
They do serve cheap ale here, so I'm assuming that Warforges can drink.
Yeah, they can eat and drink normally. They don't have to, but they can.
So, however you want to spin it. You want to drink oil, you can certainly drink oil. I will not take that kerplunch away from you, but you can drink.
It keeps the gears moist.
There we go. So you two would be following. I believe you also have... Well, they would all be dashing, so that's why...
You're right.
What would your movement be? 30 feet? So your max would be 30. So you would be also 60 feet behind. Sareys, would you be running after your insight check? Sir, would you stay there or would you chase after them?
She's gonna stay here. But just like look at all the other Warforged around here. Just like shrug.
Okay. So, Sareys is staying behind, and the others are in pursuit. With that, let's take another roll here.
Alright, I'll try to roll.
Alright. As you are running up, as you're following, you come across a pack of dogs fighting over food. Make a dexterity acrobatics check to see if you can get through unimpeded.
I love the hurdles.
And this is an obstacle for all of us, right?
Yes.
Would it be possible to instead try and acrobatically move through the dogs to try and like Lance runs up and like screams and tries to scare them away to sort of like clear the obstacle for both himself and others.
Well, you would already be making an acrobatics check. You would be utilizing the equivalent of an action to stop and scare the dogs, which means you'd not be able to dash.
So just a question with the acrobatics. So I still need to make the acrobatics even if man can scare them off.
Well, are you stopping to scare them off?
I was thinking like while running, that instead of having to maneuver past them, you just get them out of the way by scaring them off.
Basically, while running, he's basically yelling at the top of his lungs to startle him.
I understand that. I'm not thinking that would. If they're fighting over food, I don't think it would be enough if you're running within 6 seconds to scare them off.
Well,
That's why I would be saying.
I was just thinking that could work to try and get them out of the way.
Give me an intimidation check. And we'll see what happens with that.
Alright, here goes.
All right. So because we were substituting that, the failed save will go and follow suit with the obstacle. So with that, as you kind of attempt to scare them, you end up provoking them instead, and end up taking 3 points of piercing damage as one of the dogs bite you.
Hit.
It's just on a failed check. That's what happens. It's not an attack.
Alright.
You also fall back 5 feet.
Alright.
With that, Levin, you would also run into this obstacle. So give me that same acrobatics check, unless you're attempting to intimidate them.
Just you have to deal with these obstacles. The person was chasing.
Yes.
Right. 22.
Alrighty, so you are able to pass through.
Yeah, I'm just, while one of the dogs is fighting Lance, I'm just gonna kick off the wall, near his area so I can avoid the dogs that are nipping at him.
Alright. You're going to notice that Cole is also able to make it through. So, with that, that would be what? You're 10 feet, 15 feet now, you're still 20 feet. Alright, so it would basically be right now Cole is, Lance is 15 feet behind Cole, and Levin is 10 feet behind, 5 feet behind Lance. Alrighty. The other party, go ahead and give me an acrobatics check.
Would I be able to argue athletics to jump over?
You could certainly try.
Thank you, sir. So I will certainly try. May the odds be in my favor.
May the ones be with you, sir.
Oh, yeah, I got a 22. Excuse my French.
Alright, nice.
It rolled the thing? Yes.
Yes, it did. Mech, you're slowed down 10 feet. So, Yami and Fenic, you two are okay. You are continuing on. Mech, you're 10 feet behind them. So Mech is 70 feet behind. The others maintain their 60 feet.
Literally Lance behind everybody.
Well, that's not true. Sareys isn't even there.
That's what I was gonna say. Like if I'm by and I don't see Sareys.
No, so Sareys, are you still in the tavern?
She's looking around and she's going to shrug and run after. It's like, this is stupid again.
Okay, so you're going to be about, what is that, 130 feet behind?
120, yeah, 130.
Yeah, my math's not off, right?
Well, I mean, it'd be 120, but the Cole is 10 feet ahead of the closest person at the time it started, so it'd probably be 130 feet.
That's where I was figuring.
Yeah.
Question.
All right. Yes.
Are the checks our actions?
No, that would be the dashing.
You're all dashing unless you specify otherwise.
Okay.
That's how you're getting 60 feet of movement.
Got it. So I will not rail across her.
At 60 feet.
God.
60 feet of the range.
Well, you also need line of sight.
I would need to dash first. Because she's ahead, so she would be 120.
Yes, but just because she's ahead doesn't mean she's not out of sight. You need sight lines.
We are in a city, right? So I'm assuming there's other people around now.
So
And it's very
basically,
small.
yeah. So,
You're knee height level.
with that next round, those of you who are chasing Cole, you're going to see her turn a corner and you're going to hear a scream.
Well, yeah, interesting.
And it's going to go, ah!
Levin's gonna say the land. You still have that writ on you, right?
Yeah.
This is gonna get dicey.
Seems to be the case. Yeah, she was really stupid and running.
What's stupid? She only knows that hereafter.
So she run through the back alley.
Let's get to it then, and I'm gonna pull up my hand crossbow.
Lance is just gonna get hit his glaive out. I would have said that Lance, but that would have been way too on the nose.
As far as we are from them, can we see them? Like clearly, well, obviously not clearly, but can we still see them in sight, line of sight? Or Lance and
You guys are basically
Levin.
following the friends that you can, short of me having to make you roll intelligence-based checks to catch up, because she would have been swerving throughout buildings. So,
Okay, so
you're basically following some sort of sign of the others.
okay, gotcha. But we want to see Lance and Levin, right?
Well, that's who you'd basically be following, so you'd be seeing like the tail end of them as they're swerving through the
Okay,
streets.
gotcha. So,
Alright,
excuse me, sorry, just to clarify, we wouldn't see them draw their weapon, right?
See, no.
Okay, yep, that's all I need to know.
So Sareys, I'm just going to put you on the map so that you're there. Give me 1 second. I'm going to be transferring us over to a new map. And what you're going to see is laying unconscious, surrounded by... You would see Cole laying unconscious, surrounded by 3 kobolds, and something that looks to be a shifter.
How many kobolds?
3 kobolds. They would be down here on this end. Let's silence this one.
Lance will sort of like look back towards the others that are with him and look at Levin. Lance will sort of go up and say,
Sorry.
oh, wait.
You're all back. Sorry about that.
Go up. Yeah. So Lance will sort of like go up to them and say, back off on the war, she's with us.
Well,
Unless you want to make some more trouble.
once you guys kind of come into
Yeah.
sight, I'm having you roll initiative now.
Alright.
So
And
go
all
ahead.
of us, correct?
Except for... Yes. So Sareys, you're going to come in round 3. The others are going to come in round 2. Lance and Levin, you're going to start us off.
Oh,
I'll work my character out.
Alright, so I'll just roll an initiative now. Let's get out the way.
Well, you would still be using your action to dash. You'd have a bonus action that you can do and things of that nature.
but when I show up, I'm going to be at the very back of the... I'm already there, never mind.
Well, your turn order is
So I'll
going
just
to be
get my
dash.
initiative now just in case.
Yeah.
11. What's your dex? Yeah, I was gonna say it doesn't matter really because I forgot we're coming down later. Alright, yep.
Alright, so you still want initiative then?
Yes, initiatives for everybody.
Alright.
And is where I'm at where I'm going to start when I arrive?
You're going to be starting where everybody else is starting down here.
Okay.
So this group would be coming here.
Alright.
It's just the other three were ahead. The others were ahead of you,
No, I
so that's why they just come in around earlier. So to start us off, let's begin combat.
Well, there's a question, where is initiative?
If you look in the Foundry tab on the upper right, there should be a crossed swords icon.
Yep.
You can either left click to select the tab or right click to pop a window out with that tab.
Yeah, after right-clicking. Also, technically it works for every tab to right-click it, or should be most tabs at least.
Correct.
But I didn't roll initiative.
Oh yeah, that's because you could click it from the combat tracker.
Oh, I also might have rolled it for you. Sorry.
Oh, did I know that?
Let me reset it so that you can re-roll it.
Well, you can just update it for him specifically as well. If you rolled it on D&D Beyond.
You should have stuck with the 10.
Yeah, I'll keep it. I'm further behind, so it works.
Yami, what was yours? What was your initiative?
9. I'm not sure why I didn't roll in the Foundry this time, but
No worries.
try to refresh it for me. Yeah, I rolled a 9.
Yep. 9 for Yami and 13 for Mac.
Yep. Okay, so that should be everybody all set. So Lance, take it away.
Alright. So, Lance on his turn will... Oh wait, is Cole already dead with the mark on her?
Well, that's just meaning that she's down.
Oh. Alright.
Yeah, we'll assume unconscious.
Alright.
Yeah, I was about to say.
But again, otherwise you could use your action to try to do some sort of insight check. Okay. Just figured I'd throw that idea out there.
Do these people have weapons out?
Yes, they do.
I don't need insight to tell that they're hostile.
Yeah, they all have weapons out.
So, what you do... Lance will go over here and will make an attack towards this cobalt blade.
Alright, so target, make your attack.
24. For 6.
Alright. Did you target the creature by any chance?
I didn't click him, I was just pointing towards them.
Okay, so just if you can next time do that. But you notice that with that one swipe, that kobold falls down. Dead.
Alright. Then he will move up towards this one, and he will use his bonus action to use his polearm master to attack the butt of it. Let me double check if it's, I believe it's 5 feet, but I want to double check.
Yeah, just double checking that myself.
Because I'm not sure if you have to be 5 feet for it, or if you can still be 10 feet for the bonus action.
It's 5 feet, I believe.
Yeah, on D&D Beyond, it's going to say 5 feet.
Yeah.
So you can use it. For the ability itself, it doesn't actually say.
No, I on D&D Beyond, it doesn't give a range. It just says the opposite end of the weapon.
Alright, so 15.
And you're aiming at this one?
Yep.
Okay, 15
And 6.
will hit. 6, it's dead, Jim.
Alright. Still up, right?
Nope.
Oh, wait, never mind.
Is there anything else you'd like to do?
That'll be fine. That's both my action and bonus action, and this is where I'll end my turn.
Alright. So now it would be this one's turn. It's going to run up to you. And is going to make a short sword attack against you. Oof. That's gonna
I don't
miss.
see anything.
No, it's a private. It's a DM roll.
Oh.
The attack is gonna miss. I rolled a 7.
Alright.
Alright, so that is the end of that one's turn. It's that one's turn. 2 is going to move up. And it is going to make a dagger attack at you with advantage using pack tactics. That's right, I'm not targeting.
Did we do flanking, by the way? Just give.
Yes, flanking does exist. That is one of the house rules that we did set up.
Yeah, if you check the Discord channel, the 1-page summary for the campaign has the list of house rules that we agreed on.
Alright.
Nice.
What was the code hit?
That's going to be a 14 to hit, and that's going to miss.
That's a miss, yeah.
And so, Mech, you'd be using your action to dash. Is there anything else you'd like to do?
No, that's all I can do.
Okay. So that one's dead. Yami, you use your action to dash. Is there anything you'd like to do with your bonus action?
Let me see what I have. Nope, no, I'm alright. I'm just gonna do that because my bonus action requires an action, so yep. Can I wait, I still have movement though, right?
Your movement would be, your action is to dash, and then your movement would be to move 60 feet.
That would be 35, and that's, who's next to me? I'm sorry, right? If I was to move here, that's 35, well, that's 35
hold
feet.
on, no, you're not there until...
You're doing this to arrive on scene.
Oh, sorry about that. If you want to move back, then yeah, I'm done then. Yeah, that'll be it then for me. I'll move myself back 1 second. Sorry about that. Yep, that's it for me then.
No worries. Alright, so Levin, you're up.
I'm gonna move there, and I'm gonna target the kobold, firing our hand crossbow.
Okay.
12
That is just going to hit.
for 6 damage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does that put him down?
Yes, it does. I was looking for the icon. There we go. Yep.
Alright, and I'm a crossbow expert, so as a bonus action, I'm gonna fire again at the shifter.
All right.
We use our bonus action.
A 19 to hit for 5 pierce.
Yep.
And that'll end
so
my turn.
nice. It's so nice things just get taken away automatically. All right. That one's dead. Fenic, same thing. You'd be using your action to dash. Is there anything you'd like to do with your bonus action? Alrighty.
The bonus action just from 120 feet away.
Sure. Sounds good.
Yeah, no, dash action, and that's it. It's like
Alright, Sareys. Give me a acrobatics check.
So right now on scene.
At the start of your next turn, yes.
Okay.
Okay, so you are able to make it through that obstruction easily. Is there anything else you'd like to do with your turn?
No, I'm mostly dashing.
Alright. She's down. Top of the order, Lance.
Do you have your hunting action yet? Just curious. Oh wait, no,
It's
you're
level 2.
That. Yeah.
Also a cleric.
So
Yeah, that's why it's a cleric.
as a reminder, I have to remember to give the minute discussion at the top of the round. I believe that was one of the house rules that we did discuss, so that is what we have now. Is there anything you'd like to discuss at the top of this round?
We're already rolling on these fools.
Yeah,
Currently, yeah.
if possible, I think I would like the shifter alive.
Okay, so you can attempt to make non-lethal strikes.
Yeah, but not now, because he seems to be pretty healthy, and I'd like to make him quite unhealthy before I make other attempts like that.
Sounds good. Give it a try.
Alright, here goes the blade. That's a miss,
Yep, that misses.
and that's a hit for the bonus action. For 5. And sort of like look at the others, sort of like we say, big blood, and no, it's nothing useful.
Okay. Was there anything else you wanted to do with your turn?
That's my action and bonus action, so that's everything.
All right. That shifter is going to make his attack against you. Nope, misses by 2. That's the end of his turn. Mech, you're up. You are now on the scene. It would take the remainder of at least your movement, 30 feet of movement, to enter the scene. So you would still have your action and bonus action remaining.
But I can't go any further.
You could dash.
Okay. How far away are they?
So this would be 2 scale, so give me a second.
Okay, I can measure out.
About 70 feet away.
Yep, I'll take my action and dash. I'll go 60. And I'll burn her.
Alrighty.
So I'm going to be in 10 feet away. So.
Yami, you're up. Yami.
Alrighty, back to me.
Same thing. You'd be on the scene. You'd have 30 feet. You would have used your 30 feet of movement to get onto the scene. You have your action and bonus action remaining.
Alright, so this is the next round though, right? So I just don't have my movement.
Yes, you still have an action and bonus action remaining.
Okay, just want to double check. So that would be how many feet? 75, and I can't move at all, right?
You can use your action to dash, and then you can move 30 feet.
Oh, yes, I'll use my action to dash and move 30 feet. If I can. Oh, sorry, one thing. Apologize.
If you're using the measure tool, you can measure out and then press space to move that.
Oh, that's interesting. Thank you for that.
Also, I believe if you move your character, that it should have the ruler there too.
So yep, I used my action to dash. I do have my bonus action, and I'm going. I'm not going to use my bonus action just yet. Yeah, no, my turn right there.
Alrighty. Levin, you're up.
Okay, I'm gonna call out. Sharn, step to please. You have a crossroad train under, step away from the Warforged. And I'm gonna ready an action to fire if this person continues their assault.
Alrighty.
And that'll end my turn.
Fenic, you're up.
I will move 30 feet. And...
So wait, hold on, because you would have been 30 feet. You would have used your 30 feet of movement to get onto the scene. Are you using your action to dash to move forward further?
Oh, so from here, I'm on the scene, right?
Yes, and that would have been your regular...
Having already used your move.
Okay. Well, let's see. Measurement. Alright. So the cobalt 2 lances
It's down.
Is down. Okay. So all the ones still fall down. Alright, so it's just the shift checker.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I will cast a chill touch on him. Because he just arrived in the field, so he didn't hear Levin.
You would have heard Levin. I yelled this out.
Oh. Oh, magic can't be non-lethal, right?
Not unless it's a melee attack.
Alright, so Fenic will arrive on the scene and hold his...
So readying the cast spell action.
Yeah.
And the trigger.
The trigger is the, since he heard Levin, what Levin said...
Pretty much stop in the name of the law.
Yeah,
Effectively, yeah.
If he doesn't stop... But...
You violated the law. Hey, you're fine, I'll serve your sentence.
I feel like we're Skyrim guards at this point.
Are we not?
No, because we're
So,
deputies.
bringing it back to combat.
The trigger will be If he doesn't, the shifter does not listen and continues to attack.
Alrighty.
So he's no.
Sounds good. Is there anything else you'd like to do with your turn?
No.
Alright, Sareys. You are arriving on the scene next turn. Is there anything you'd like to do with your bonus action? Sareys?
Sorry, you did. There's nothing else I can do, but I am just ready.
Alrighty. Top of the order, is there anything you'd like to discuss over the next minute?
Personally, I'm full. Wax is full.
The shifter, we haven't hit the shifter yet, have we?
Yep.
Yes, we have.
You have. Well, you have it.
So the potential of Levin's and Fenic's shots going off this thing could very well blow up.
I'm only shooting if they continue their assault. If they stay down and run, I'm not firing.
Well, that Fenic's same thing, but if he goes down, we pick up a horse.
We do what we can once that happens.
Okay. Cool. I got that.
Alright, so Lance, what would you like to do?
Alright. So Lance was sort of like looking at him. Maybe like have like a bit of a bloody nose from the whole engagement. Give him a bit of a smile and say, so what's it gonna be, punk? Do or die. Do or die. And try to intimidate him to get like the fuck off.
Alright, so, between you and Levin, would you like to do individual intimidation checks, or would you like to do a group check between the two of you?
I'm sitting since I have a crossbow trait. I'm not basically assisting from a distance, but I'm not right in his face.
Okay, so, give me a intimidation check at advantage, Lance.
Alright, here goes. $11.
Seeing that he is effectively surrounded, you're going to see the shifter kind of drop his knife. Alright. And he's going to turn and attempt to walk away.
Alright.
Or I should say, short sword, excuse me.
We have a few questions, then you can walk.
Yeah. And he's effectively ignoring you. He's just continuing to walk off.
Lance will sort of like look at the guy with the crossbow. Wait. Out of curiosity, he's walking away from his opportunity attack, right?
You could certainly take an opportunity attack. He is effectively unarmed.
Alright, then in that case, he's gonna try and jump throw.
Alright, give me a strength check against a contested dexterity.
Would athletics work?
Athletics would work.
Alright.
Dex acrobatics.
Yeah, just like try and like grab him and like stop him.
You are successful. Unfortunately, just give me 1 second. Take this as a minute of discussion. I will be right back.
Alright, I'm probably gonna do a fighter action to kick his sword away.
Yep, I'm gonna.
Definitely reasonable considering the circumstances.
Yep.
I'm gonna heal Cole.
I don't want him to run off.
With the shell prone, he would either spend half his movement getting up or move 50 feet away on the ground. So 50 feet away regardless.
I have both.
I'll just go sit next to
Unless he's dashing, then that's going to be 30.
Sareys and Fenic are going to head back to the blood bar.
Wouldn't dash be 45 because he doesn't have half movement on
It spends half your movement, so since you're only doubling your movement, not adding 30,
but it's your base movement.
correct. And your base movement when getting up is 15.
No,
It costs
your base movement is 30, and it costs you half.
Not going to debate this.
I mean, I'm not there.
No, it's the DM's call.
Right.
Alright, sorry about that. So, you successfully shoved this shifter prone. You are essentially, are you standing over it or did you tackle?
Did I what? Or what?
Did you, like, kind of just, did you try to tackle him or are you standing upright as he's on the floor?
Probably going to be like a tackle. Like a police tackle.
Oh, God, what do you want?
We're not done with you.
Yeah?
We're done when I say we're done. Got that?
Yeah, sure. Give me another intimidation check.
Alright. It's gonna have to be, well, I would say police brutality. I guess it should be normal brutality.
Listen, old man. You're messing with stuff you're not gonna like.
Maybe. But right now you're messing with me. And that's all you need to worry about.
Oh, and what are you gonna do? And we're gonna say that's the end of your turn? No, we're gonna say you're out of combat. He did give up, so let me end combat. At this point, the party would be regrouped. Everybody is able to move freely.
Can I run up to Cole and, she's unconscious, right?
Yes, she is.
I'm gonna do, lay on hands for 1 HP.
She is revived that 1 HP. She is conscious, and you kind of hear her body creaking metallically. What happened? I was attacked.
You almost died.
I'm sorry, I thought it was you. It's just, I thought you were sent to kill me.
You're never on it. We're the best next time. Plan out a better escape route.
Let's hope there's not another next time.
If there's a next time, that's a good thing.
There was certainly a next time, but let's not worry about that. Let's worry about that.
Sure, little thing.
You never, not gonna go there.
Alright.
So with that,
Anyone?
you have a shifter that's tackled, and you have a now conscious Cole. What would you like to do?
Lance just sort of look at the others and says, would anyone here like to have a word with our new associate as like he's pressing down powder on his back?
I mean, it looks like you have handled.
I'm showing it on this phone. You can handle it. You can handle it too. I can just hear for back.
Would anybody else like to? Would anybody else like to attempt to intimidate this individual?
No, I'll keep my crossbow trained, but I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, right. Let's see how intimidating a goblin is. Go ahead.
Alright. With the crossbow, will he gain advantage?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay. Plus 4.
You were close.
I know. I was like, oh, plus 4, I'll try it.
So what? Now we got the old man and the shrimp.
Alright. Just take out tonight. Alright. We're just gonna cut to the chase and harm anything. Why were you after the war for?
What are you doing with said knife?
He's pressing it against this kid.
Okay. Give me another intimidation check with advantage this time.
Kind of funny.
This with the threat of his life emphasizing this, you're going to see him tense up, feeling the tip of the sharp blade against his kidney. You sure you want to know, old man?
I do. Who do you work for?
I work for the Dusk. In case you don't know what that is, it's a criminal organization. He says, kind of like shouting to the.
He will sort of like go down to the side of the ear and sort of whisper there to keep it down. Otherwise, one man had your ropes.
Do it. I dare you.
Sarah's right yet.
Yes, you would have all been regrouped.
Okay. She'll kind of walk. No. We don't have to kill him. That's, bad. We can just simply make a profit off of this. He won't collect anything. Let him go away. But I heard shifted testicles was an aphrodisiac in cold warriors. We should keep those to make some money off of this.
Give me an,
good idea.
give me an intimidation check with advantage.
Okay. Actually, gonna suck at this, so.
That's okay, that was still fairly intimidating.
Not intimidating for a person here.
Right?
She's not holding a weapon, just standing there, kind of
Threatening his manhood.
Alright, I'll talk. God, we were hired by Gara. He's a desk lieutenant. He sent us a letter and, it's been destroyed. We were told to take out the damn metalheads. Metalhead, excuse me.
Know what a proper end game in doing this was?
Trust me, when you get orders, you follow them. You don't ask questions.
Oh, I
understand it all too well.
If you think I know, you're stupider than you thought.
Well then, where do you see your letter?
What happened?
Where did you see your letter?
It gets delivered. How else do letters work?
I'm not an idiot. Where was it delivered?
To my lair. Where we hang out.
Where did you receive your orders?
The mail comes by letter. We hang out at a place You know, it's in a bad spot, and then, you know, when there's a job, they send a letter, and we do. It's what we do.
I'm gonna loose a bolt near his feet.
Hey, listen. I'm from Jerome here. You can only intimidate me so much. And he is going to struggle against you. So he is going to attempt to... What happened?
Yeah, Lance will try and keep him in, so it's other athletics.
Yep.
Yeah, he's very great.
And so he's going to use half his movement to stand up. And then he is going to attempt to dash away.
Alright, Lance will start looking at the people with the crossbow or holding whatever action and tell them to fire.
Will you follow orders?
Good soldiers.
Not about to fire on an unarmed person that's not fighting. He's just trying to get away.
Balls intact.
Yeah. Sareys doesn't fire either.
Question though. Technically, if he moves out of range again, that's another opportunity to attack.
You can certainly try. But you wouldn't be able to you wouldn't be able to really tackle him. You can attempt to try to trip him if that's what you're going for.
Alright. No, he's gonna try to attack him with his glaive. He's done here.
That is going to miss. He is able to slip past you and start running. So, are you going to pursue, or are you going to tend to Cole?
How far is Cole from me?
How far is who?
Cole from where's Cole on the map? Oh, she's on the skull armor, right?
Yep. Cole is the
Okay.
same here. Let me actually remove that.
Would I be able to use a healing word on her? I'm not sure if we're still in.
Well, she is conscious. She has 1 hit point. You can certainly use a spell. You can certainly cast Healing Word if you choose to.
Well, she said she's conscious, right? And she's up down now.
Yes, because M.E.C.H used 1 point of Lay on Hands.
Okay, then never mind. I thought she was still unconscious. All right.
So ultimately, are you going to pursue, or are you going to stay with Cole?
I would definitely pursue. If anybody else does it.
You got what you wanted. He's unarmed running. What more do you want?
Well, we have to know what he knows. I agree with Lance. As I chase after.
Then you're on your own.
Our mission is to find out what Cole knows.
Yeah.
So ultimately, Yami, are you running off?
So as I was about to run, and I'm running past,
Yeah.
I believe Levin. Yeah, Lance, you're still running after the shifter, correct?
Yeah, Lance. Yep.
So I'm following Lance here. I'm just running past everybody as they say this to me, and I'm just following Lance.
Okay. So we have just hit the 11 o'clock mark. So I think this is a pretty good spot to pause until next week.
Ooh-wee!
This way we will start off with the chase of the shifter, as well as tending to Cole next week.
Okay.
On the next episode of Eberron.
So, thank you
Right.
for those who are here and who have joined us. I don't know how many of these 4 viewers are party members who are currently here.
No, I'm not. I'm not
So-
doing it.
Ooh.
If
Yeah,
nothing
I was
else-
one.
If nothing else, we have at least 3 to 4 viewers, so thank you for joining us.
Thank you,
And,
thank you.
We will see you all next week.
Have a good week, everyone.
Take care. Have a good
Sorry,
night.
I did want to apologize,
adios.
Joan. I checked the updated information. It does say movement, not speed. I was remembering it off of my copy of the player's handbook, so I apologize.
Fine. I wasn't worried about it, but thank you.